All right, so today we are going to talk about finding opportunity through social media in order to grow your business in a time of crisis. Also thank you to Center State CEO for hosting this great free webinar for folks. I think it's a good conversation to have right now, especially with everything going on. And I'm gonna talk through some of the challenges we're all facing. Um, Outside of just being a CEO and co-founder of Digital Hive, I have a few other responsibilities. I'm on the board of directors of Loretto, United Way of Central New York, Food Bank of Central New York, SUNY Oswego, Onondaga Community College, Center State CEO, Burn Dairy, and I'm also a co-founder at Exo Taco. So lots of different hats that I'm currently wearing, and I'm very proud of a lot of the organizations that I'm involved with and the things that they're doing as a response to COVID-19. And you'll actually see things examples sprinkled in with a lot of these companies and others of best practices utilizing social media. So I thought a really good format today would be to start with what are some of the challenges that we're seeing that COVID-19 has really presented for us. I chose 10. I called it top 10. I don't know that they're the top 10 because there's a lot of challenges that we're facing, both as humans and as businesses. So I'm going to talk about some of those challenges, and then I'm going to go line by line for each one of them and kind of discuss how can we utilize social media to address and perhaps remedy some of these challenges and utilize some opportunities. So here's a few challenges that I see. First of all, it's not just an economic slowdown, right? In the 2008 recession, we were facing a recession that we hadn't seen in quite some time. And that was a tough thing that all of us, but layering on top of a health crisis, on top of an economic slowdown, certainly makes it much harder to communicate with your audience. All of a sudden, your communication style and your messaging becomes incredibly nuanced. So you need to understand how to talk to your audience, and we'll talk through that. Also, there's so much health-related information out there. It's hard to tell what's true and what's not true, right? So we want to be conduits for that, and we'll talk through, how to remedy some of that. People are losing their jobs, or they need to learn new skills. People are losing their jobs because of the economic slowdown. New York State pause, social distancing. It's the right thing to do. Everybody should be staying home, which I can see from the webinar today. A lot of folks are, which is great. But also it's obviously having a huge detrimental impact on business. And so we need to be cognizant of that with people losing their jobs. And even if people aren't losing their jobs, it's a really great time to upskill. So we'll talk through some of that. People are worried about their financial health. Even if you haven't lost your job, you may be worried about your company's future. And, if you have any money invested in your 401k, the stock market, things like that, it's a worrisome time. So we need to be cognizant. Social distancing and being in quarantine have made it challenging to connect personally and professionally. So that's a tough thing. This is a big one that I've gotten, and this is going to be one that I'm excited to talk through. Selling or trying to grow your business right now during all this may look unethical or opportunistic. So I'm going to talk through that. Brick and mortar businesses are shut down currently, many of them. So it's hurting their primary business model and the revenue generation. That people are transitioning to a fluid and effective remote work strategy. So it's important now, but it's also going to be important in the future. Supply chains are drying up. Supply and demand is unpredictable, making it hard for businesses and consumers to get what they actually need. And overall sentiment is down. Anxiety and depression is on the rise. So all of these things, as you can see, are incredible challenges that we're facing as a world, globally facing. So how can we as businesses step in and kind of talk through these things through social media and find opportunity? Now, one big thing that I do want to talk through is setting a precedent for my talk. There's a big difference between opportunity and being opportunistic. I believe that no matter what we're facing as people, as humans, there's always opportunity no matter what the circumstances are. So I really want to define what is opportunity. Opportunity is a set of circumstances that make it possible to do something. That's simply what an opportunity is. But being opportunistic is exploiting those chances offered by immediate circumstances with little regard for principles or with what the consequences are for others. And so, again, exploitation, I think, is the key word here. Do not exploit COVID-19 to better yourselves without thinking about the consequence of others. Thinking about the context in which we're all living in is incredibly important. And I think that's going to be your compass of not being opportunistic. But at the same time, a lot of us have businesses, a lot of us work for businesses, and we need to make sure that we're being responsible to those businesses and to all of our employees. So let's understand what some of those opportunities may look like. So on top of an economic slowdown, we're laying in the health crisis, which is, again, making that messaging incredibly nuanced. Here's an opportunity, though. A lot of your competitors will get it wrong, but you can get it right. And I'll talk about how you can do that. Now, something that you can be doing wrong, the wrong way to do it is to be tone deaf, to not understand what the context are, how people are feeling. If you are tone deaf to the situation, you can come off as insensitive. You can come off as insincere. It may look like you have mixed motives. And another way that your competitors might be getting wrong is they may not be communicating at all. And not communicating in this time is also not the right answer. And how I'm gonna phrase some of this is I'm gonna talk through what the challenges are, what the opportunities are, how to do it right, how to do it wrong, and then I'm gonna give some specific examples. So you'll see that in a moment. I think how to do it right now, considering all the different, the situation that we're facing, be sincere, be helpful, be based in fact, be based in humanity. Remember, we are humans. We're all there for each other, and we need to be thinking about how to help one another during this time because we're all on one team. And that's alluding to a commercial that I'll show you later, or at least a screen capture of it. The number one thing, though, that I'm going to talk through, and you'll see a lot of these principles throughout my presentation, but the number one thing that I want to come across for everyone today is be value driven. Right now, the best way to harness an opportunity is to deliver value through your communications channels. And so I'll expand upon what I mean by that, but if you can deliver value to your customers, that's not being opportunistic. That's just giving them something that they need. And value can look a lot of different ways. Value can be simply communicating, what are your hours? Are you open or not open? If you're a restaurant, are you doing takeout? Are you doing delivery? Are you not open at all? That's important to people. That's delivering value. Giving people a discount, giving people a way to pay their bills a little bit later. That could be value, but also just providing a smile during these times, something that makes people feel good. That's delivering value. So that's a big theme of what I'm going to talk about, and you'll see some specific examples as I go through the presentation. So here's some things not to do, right? KFC, this was more just poor timing. They had already launched this campaign. It was kind of just awful time is already running. But during COVID-19, when everything started launching, they had a campaign called Finger Lickin' Good. And you can imagine that was not the appropriate tone for social distancing and not touching your face and washing your hands. And so, again, that was more poor timing. They didn't launch that after COVID-19. They weren't being insensitive, but certainly not the right time for it. And another piece of advice I give you, if you're tempted as a business to joke about toilet paper, it's just not the right time to do it. I think that the toilet paper phase is kind of come and gone. I think that the supply is coming back to grocery stores, which is great. And I'll talk about how potentially you can use humor in some of the messaging points that you have, but you need to be tactful. And I actually have an example in a few slides of how to be a little tongue-in-cheek, but you have to be appropriate with it. And so, joking about situations may be funny to friends and maybe text messages and memes and things like that as a person, but as a business, if you aren't 100% sure this is going to go over with 100% of your audience, then you don't want to be joking about it, because you never know. You might be joking about toilet paper, and that might be a serious cause of stress or anxiety for somebody, and then all of a sudden, you as a business look like you're making fun of it, right? You just don't want to be caught in that position. Here's some things that I think brands have done well so far. And so I'll talk about a few national brands. Because I'm an ad geek, I'm going to show you a few that I really like so far that have come out. One big theme with a few different brands has been they are separating their logos to promote social distancing. So you can see the McDonald's golden arches are separated. You can see that Coca-Cola is separated. Staying apart is the best way to stay united. And then Audi, obviously the rings are typically connected. And then their brand statement there is Audi, keep distance. And so I really like the way that the brands have kind of embraced what's happening right now. It certainly is appropriate for the time and the tone and the cadence for what people are thinking throughout right now, what's important. I love this. This is Google. This is a Google Map ad, and it says no FOMO. FOMO means fear of missing out. This is how Barcelona looks like outside your doors today. No different from yesterday. Stay home. And I love this ad because it shows an image from Google Maps and a way that you could utilize Google Maps by looking at your location, but also driving home the point of staying home, right? This was a fantastic ad. This is actually a video commercial, or actually just a great video production. But I took screen captures because I didn't know how the internet speed would be. I don't know if you recognize him, but that's Captain Obvious. He's the kind of spokesperson for Hotels.com, and he's doing hand sanitizer. He's sitting there eating a bowl of popcorn. Super low production value, just a green screen or a gray screen behind him with text on the front. He doesn't say anything during the commercial. It's just text overlays on it. It says he's going to be social distancing for a while. Then he's eating some popcorn, and it says Hotels.com. Just stay home. And what I love about this is while it was funny and humorous, it drove home the point about staying home, which is the important, kind of topic that most people need to be thinking about, top of mind awareness. But what I love so much is that it is the opposite of their business model. They're literally saying our business model is for you to get hotels, and we're telling you just stay home. And so I think what that does is it creates long-staying branding power. Right? Because as we all know, at some point, businesses will open back up again. Travel will become a thing again. And Hotels.com right now is positioning themselves to say, look, we don't care about, our revenue. We don't care about, selling you anything. Right now, the most important thing we can do as a society is be united and to stay home. Even though that's, completely against our business model, we want to drive the message for you to stay home. So I thought that was an admirable message, and it's going to help with the brand loyalty afterwards, because people are going to remember, hey, they weren't trying to sell me anything. They were just trying to get out a really good message. And they infused a little bit of humor because it was on brand for them, right? It was Captain Obvious. It's a funny commercial. They've built that brand messaging up for some time, so it wasn't a complete departure from what their normal brand communications are. And that's a big component of how to get away with humor right now, if you can. If your brand is a super, straightforward, don't really make jokes, don't share memes, it's just more of kind of a rigid brand communication strategy, then don't try to be funny right now. It's just, if you haven't been funny in the past, don't be funny now. Be serious. Stick within your brand guidelines and standards of what people expect, because if you all of a sudden pivot to a humorous thing, it can be taken out of context, right? So I think Hotels.com did a really great job with this, of adding some humor in, lightening the conversation, but also being serious with their messaging and saying the right message. I love this one. This is just a simple 20-second post from No Name Brands, and it literally is just 20-second hand washing timer. And if you push play, it's just 20, 19, 18, 17. It's just a great way to remind people of how long you should be washing your hands. It doesn't have anything to do with their brand or products or services. It's just a great way to remind people about hand washing. I love this. Normally, Burger King's branding statement is home of the Whopper. They've crossed out of the Whopper, and it just says stay home. Thought that was great. And not to be outdone, I think that Wendy's is one of the best social media, has one of the best social media games out there. And this is one of their COVID messaging, Wendy's. And she's not there because she's staying home. So I really love that one. Finally, we have Durex. This is just another example of a brand that can get away with some tongue-in-cheek. Obviously, they are, they're a condom brand, and so they can be a little bit tongue-in-cheek because it's on brand, it's on point for them, and they're giving quarantine safety tips, right, about staying home, right? And so I think this is a really good message, stays on brand, and they can be a little bit humorous, but they're still, focusing on the context of where we're at today. So that was the first piece, is just to kind of how to stay on brand and how to stay on message, while navigating the health and economic impacts that we're seeing. The other piece of it is another challenge that we're seeing is there's so much health information out there. It's hard to tell what's right and what's wrong. And so what can you do? With such high stakes, it's important for people to be getting factual information. Leverage your brand to be the conduit for PSAs. Right? So I think that's incredibly important, that a brand can do right now to share good information. Now, here's what not to do. Don't spread misinformation. Don't see something online and think that it's the right thing. And, you just got to make sure if your brand sends any message at all having to do with COVID, having to do with health in general, make sure that you're not wrong, right? Give the best information that you can in the moment. Make sure you're fact checking your messages. And it can be as simple as stay at home. It can be as simple as wash your hands. Things like that are great because those are facts, right? Those are things that we all need to be doing. But if you're trying to get really technical and you're not a medical facility, I'd probably stay away from it, right? But you can share some really great information with people, and do not mix humor with this. For the most part, for local brands who's on the call today, don't try to be funny when you're talking about COVID-19, and especially when it comes to symptoms or advice, right? Be fact-driven, be empathetic, but also straightforward. Empathetic is really, really important because people are scared, they're worried, they have anxiety. So you as a brand can make sure that you're telling the right story, giving information, while also being empathetic to everybody's challenges that they're facing in their own personal life. So here's some examples of some national brands that have done a great job, I feel like, with this. Coca-Cola, our Twitter is going to look a little different as we donate our social fees to experts and partners sharing helpful information. Stay tuned for messages making a difference. I love this because it's not Coca-Cola saying, hey, we're sharing great information. They're bringing in experts and partners to share good information. It's not about Coke is the best, Coke tastes great, we have a new flavor, blah, blah, blah. It's about here's some information. They're utilizing the hundreds of thousands of people that follow their brand to share really important and factual information. Another really great thing that I think National Geographic did is they shared all of their stories of COVID-19 can be accessed freely. They're behind a paywall, meaning you have to pay to get their content typically. But any of the content that has anything to do with COVID-19 can be accessed freely. And a lot of media publications are doing it, which I think is awesome. And then spread facts, not fear. It's currently unknown if coronavirus is affected by the weather. This is a great ad. It's appealing to the eye. And then very bottom, message from Mucinex. So it's not about Mucinex, it's not about the brand. It's about spreading facts and not fear. And I think that's a great, and go to covid19facts.com, and all of it is supported by the Mucinex brand. So a great way to get information out there as a brand. Some local folks that I think are doing a phenomenal job spreading good information. Food Bank Essential New York, I think they're doing a great job of sharing, facts about food safety, how to deter infection, and more. They created a landing page on their website, and a nice big bright image saying COVID-19 helpful resources. United Way also doing a great job partnering with Upstate Medical University. They tagged Upstate and shared the information that Upstate is sharing of knowing the symptoms if you feel like you could be potentially exposed to COVID, right? And then also here's Burn Dairy sharing information about how their operations have changed since COVID, right? They've put in sneeze guards. They've suspended the use of reusable mugs. Prepackaged dozen donuts are available. We've seen a lot of that happening with grocery stores. At Wegmans, I think were one of the first that was, installed the sneeze guards for their cashiers, talking about how they're protecting their people, talking about how you as a consumer can shop safer, right? And so giving people information about how to stay safe, and also if they're essential businesses, if you're an essential business, what steps you're taking to make your business safe, I think is a phenomenal way to share facts and make people feel safer during this time. And of course, I have to give a big shout out to local government. Ryan McMahon doing his daily snippets has been awesome. I think over communication, and this is not necessarily social media related, but this is just a piece of advice for internal communication. If you're a leader at an organization, I think it's incredibly important to over communicate right now. As things were going for the first few weeks of COVID, I was sending daily emails to my staff, letting them know how we're doing as a business, letting them know what challenges we're facing, what opportunities do we see. Every single day they were hearing from me, so that they weren't having those questions and answering themselves. I was able to control the conversation by giving them facts. I was not just feeding them the good news. I was also feeding them the bad news. And I think that's also really important, is being fact driven, being sensitive to the fact that it's can be emotional and can drive anxiety. But at the same time, I think that if you aren't straightforward with folks, It's going to cause more problems than it would be good. So I think that's what County Executive Ryan has done a great job of, is giving us information on the daily to keep us in the know with what's happening, so that we as consumers, we as humans, can feel better about it, or at least be informed. Right. Same thing with Mayor Walsh. I think he's done a phenomenal job, and obviously Governor Cuomo has done a great job of those daily messages as well. And it just makes people feel better that there's facts out there. You feel informed, and then you can take action from those facts. And this is how you can utilize it on social media, by giving updates if it's appropriate for your business. Another challenge: people are losing their jobs, and or they need to learn new skills. So we as businesses can help others learn new skills. Do not be opportunistic or money driven with this, and don't try to teach what you don't know. If you're trying to talk about, if your business is, you're a plumber, and you're trying to give advice on how to fight COVID symptoms, that's probably not the best idea. But if you're a plumber and you're giving people on best ways to fix leaks when you're in the home and you're noticing it more because you're home more, that's a great opportunity to teach people new skills. And then when they have an issue that they can't do themselves, guess who they're going to be calling, because you're the content authority, right? So that's a great way to be offering content, be helping people with new skills, and not being opportunistic, just saying, hey, you're home more. If you're noticing leaks in your house, here's some things that could be causing it, right? Not saying, hey, call us for a free estimate. It's, hey, this is a way to be, to DIY this, right? And then if they can't do it, of course, they're going to be calling you. So it's a win-win. And that's goes back to what I was talking about, driving value, right? Value first. Be generous with your expertise. So here's some really cool examples of some brands that are doing this. Digital Marketer, digitalmarketer.com is the premier training source for digital marketing, and a fantastic organization. What they did was they gave away their Digital Marketer Lab, which is basically training courses, to everyone and anyone without even having to put in your credit card information. So there won't be any auto renewal. It won't be anything like that. It'll just be, hey, you want to learn a new skill during COVID-19? You want to learn more about digital marketing? Go here, sign up, and we'll give you a free month of Digital Marketer, which was fantastic. And I'll give you what the result of that was later in the presentation. Stanford and Harvard have both given away free online courses. Some of their most popular courses, actually, they've given away for free. You don't have to sign up. You don't have to pay anything. You can just take online courses, which I thought was awesome, especially from Ivy League schools. And then, of course, here we are at Center State CEO doing this. And I applaud all of you, because I know how crazy things are right now. I know how unbelievably busy you probably feel. Some people maybe more than others. But obviously you are investing in yourselves by trying to understand how to utilize social media in a time like this. So A, thank you for joining, but also B, again, thank you for Center State, because Center State is providing incredible resources right now, both from talking to government officials. They had a talk with John Katko and Ryan McMahon. I think on Friday they have Chuck Schumer coming. They have a lot of these business series happening to give advice. So I think that this is a phenomenal way to access locally some really good information. And obviously you all are doing this right now. So I'm a little bit preaching to the choir, but if you're not a member, I would highly suggest, because Center State is an incredible organization. People are worried about their financial situation is kind of the next challenge. And so here's an opportunity: give people a break financially. Obviously as a business, we're all, most of us are facing revenue hardship because of COVID-19. And so it may be hard to give people a break financially. However, if you are in a position to do that, I'll try and come up with some ideas. I'm going to give some examples. If you're able to do that, I think it's a great time to do it, because again, what you want to be thinking about is you're building long-term brand value. Of course, you need to address the current situation, which may be you're in a really tough place financially. You're working really hard to keep your employees employed. But also at the same time, you want to think about your future customers and what is it going to do to be able to give them a break now when they need it. How much brand loyalty can you create in the future? No tricks, no hidden fees, no strings attached. Don't try and create a promotion that is all about you and not about the consumer, right? They'll see right through it. Consumers are savvy. Just give people a break if you can, and expect nothing immediate in return. Don't expect that you're going to do this and all of a sudden people are going to come flocking to you, right? It's a tough time for everybody right now. It's about brand building. It's about being a good citizen, a good corporate citizen, and taking care of the people that helped you get to where you are today from a business standpoint. And that most certainly includes your customers, right? So British Airways, and as most airways, and I think even regulations have deemed that they have flexible changes for any bookings that you have. My family and I actually booked a trip to Spain and Finland. My wife is from Finland, so we're going to go see her family. And it was a very, very easy switch. There was a long wait time, but once I did get a hold of someone, it was very easy to switch. We're no longer going to Spain. We're just going to go see our family in Finland once this whole thing is done. And they charged us no change fees, which was awesome and very appreciated. Those kind of things are an incredible relief when you're facing your own personal income struggles as well. American Express and many other credit card companies are waiving interest and late fees on accounts requesting it. So if you have an American Express, you can go to their customer service and ask that they're to not charge any interest, to waive any late fees and return check fees, and any rewards that you've forfeited because of late payment, you can get reimbursed. And so there's just a few ideas. Locally there can be discounting that happens. There can be 2-for-1s, and there can be also trial periods and lots of different ways that you can help, your customer base, try your product right now or service, and maybe do it at a lower cost, or take care of your current customer. Social distancing and being in quarantine have made it challenging to connect personally and professionally. We all feel it. Social isolation is not fun. I will say from a personal standpoint, I'm enjoying being with my family more. But for many, there are folks that are, they're at home by themselves. They may be, in a relationship that isn't so great. There's a lot of different things. And also people are we as humans are social animals. We want to see other people. And so your brand can connect people personally and professionally online. Don't be tone deaf to it though. Don't make light of the fact that, it might be easy to make some jokes. And again, personally, your own personal social media, go wild with it. I mean, if you're the owner of a business, you probably want to be a little cognizant, representative of your business. But from a business standpoint, you want to still take this a little bit seriously. Be empathetic to people with social withdrawal, be helpful, offer value. Some examples of that are, Bud Light hosted a dive bar tour where there's some comedians. You can go online and Instagram and kind of follow along in live with comedians and things like that. Obviously Zoom, which we're using right now, has blown up for good or bad for them. I don't want to get into the security issues that Zoom is facing and all that. You can look that up. But from a good perspective, when all of this happened, their business is catapulted. And, in direct contrast with all the other brands that are distancing, I think that one interesting thing that they did with their brand and their logo is they actually made it closer. They took the Zoom and made it closer, and they said shorten the distance. And I thought that was very clever. Also, they became the #1 app in the Apple App Store in the middle of March when everybody was working from home. So capitalizing on some of those opportunities is huge and can be a great opportunity. I also have to give a big shout out to some local folks. I think I saw Kate on the line from David's Refuge. This was a great idea, Kate. An Easter egg hunt virtually. Basically there was over 30 websites that participated, including Loretto. They put Easter eggs throughout their website, and you had to go and find them. And then once you found the eggs, you can enter to win a surprise, which I thought was really cool. Great way to get your message out, and fun. And it encourages social interaction without being physically together, which obviously Easter egg hunts are typically done together. So I thought that was a really cool idea. SUNY Oswego is doing some great content marketing with some of their students. This person is doing some fitness tips along with hashtags for people to stick along with some of the content and that other people are sharing if they use the hashtags. And one of our own very great city councilors, Joe Driscoll, has been doing some great online concerts where you can follow along. He's providing some live music and keeping us all sane during this with some really great tunes. So I thought that was really cool. And I think Bruce Springsteen is doing a live concert soon. So again, if you can think of ways to encourage people to interact socially through social media, It's a great way to deter the social isolation feeling, as well as getting your brand out in some good feel good moments. Selling, this is one of the huge ones. So selling or trying to grow your business may look unethical or opportunistic right now. There is no doubt, right? It's a very, very tight line that you have to walk. Trying to sell people when people are losing their job, trying to sell people when people are worried about their health and the health of their loved ones, very, very difficult balance. So I'll talk through this a little bit more, but I do think there's an opportunity right now to give people a new reason to experience your product either through a discount. Maybe it's relevant because of COVID-19, such as Zoom. Add additional value to your existing customers to entice new customers, and I'll talk through an example with that. Or find new channels of how to sell, right? Because as people move online, by the way, I didn't even mention this, social media is blowing up right now. With people being home, I know everybody's supposed to be working from home, but there is certainly more opportunity in the day to just check your phone and look at Instagram and look at Facebook and look at some social media channels. And so, online in general, people are moving online more than ever. They're utilizing their phones and tablets and laptops more than ever, shopping more online. So how can you use that as an opportunity by simply just being where people are? And we'll talk through that. Again, biggest downfall here, you could come off as insincere and you could come off with mixed motives. Think, people that have PPE, right? Or, like masks or ventilators, people that are selling hand sanitizer for $300 a bottle. I mean, that's opportunistic, right? That's exploitation. Don't do that. Don't be insincere. But if, by the way, here's another great example for that. I was driving by a little medical shop in Camillus as I was driving home yesterday with my family, and they had a sign out front that said hand sanitizer available. And when it was some of the Beacon Skip stuff. So I was just driving. I pulled in. I went in and I bought some. And I'd never been in this store before. And they were selling it for $6 a bottle, which was incredibly reasonable, especially during this time. So, I mean, that's just a great way to utilize the relevancy right now to get people to try your product without being insincere, without overcharging people, without being unethical and exploiting people. I thought that was a really great thing. Don't sell, deliver value. So I'm just going into some of these. Oh my gosh, remember when Frozen 2 dropped way earlier than everybody thought? That was like a huge blessing for my house because all of a sudden Frozen 2 is here. It's amazing. Everybody's celebrating. They got a ton of press for doing it. They rushed their system to get it, in the hands of everybody, which was a huge plus. But by the way, you can't watch it if you don't subscribe to Disney Plus, right? And so, yes, they're offering value. It's a great product that they delivered to people earlier. It was a surprise and delight thing, which I always advocate for. But again, if you don't have Disney Plus, you got to go sign up for it. It's a great way to get new customers. Vita Coco is up 183% on Amazon and 438% on Walmart.com because they started to advertise the fact that people are switching from buying things in a brick and mortar grocery store to online. So that's a huge advantage. Again, you're not being unethical. You're just saying, hey, if you like Vita Coco, I'm not sure how to say that, and you normally buy it in brick and mortar, we have it available on Amazon. We have it available at Walmart. Not being unethical, you're just telling people, you're directing people where to go. Huge uptick in sales. And then Manitoba Harvest, a natural foods brand, saw 3 times Amazon growth for their hemp protein products because people are stocking up on nutritious, shelf-stable foods. Again, just being relevant to the times. DeBella Subs did a 50% off offer for first responders, nurses, doctors, healthcare as a way to thank them, which I thought was phenomenal. The Most, who is an incredible organization. Lauren's doing a great job of promoting The Most. Obviously, you can't go to The Most, unfortunately. My kids love it. But you can do things like create an at-home museum. So they're creating really great content. And also putting a pitch in there. If you want to help support us, go to the GoFundMe page. So I thought it's a really great way to promote their message, keep top of mind. And when things open back up, people are going to be, knocking down the doors to get into The Most. And also Anthony Marone Law Firm is doing a great thing. He created a COVID-19 stimulus calculator. He's been doing a lot of great free webinars for people. And he created a calculator. You pop in your income, and it'll give you and all your details, and it'll give you what they expect for your COVID-19 stimulus package. So I thought that was a really cool way to promote his business by offering value at no charge, but it's helping to get his name out there from a law firm perspective. And oh, by the way, digital marketer, when they did their free trial sign up for the month, they do, obviously they're digital marketer. They know how to do digital marketing. It is the biggest promotion they have ever done. They have had more signups than they've ever had, and they anticipate they're going to generate more revenue than they've ever generated for any past campaign. They've run a lot, any past campaign, by simply doing this trial during this time, by helping people help themselves. They are going to generate more revenue. So this is truly a win-win. And that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about value for people, and being sensitive to the times. I'm going to kind of expedite some of these conversations because I want to leave as much time for questions and answers as possible. So brick and mortar shut down, hurting their business model and revenue generation. So try to pivot online to generate revenue and also for communication purposes. But don't do it just because people are online and try and rush it. If there's no good reason for you to be online and it's only for your benefit and not for the customer needs, you're going to spend a whole lot of time and you're going to be disappointed. So you need to be thoughtful about what you can do online. Here's some examples. Manlius Pebble Hill. Enrollment is important for them. They're putting out information about how to chat with them online. If you have questions, our children's education is still a priority during these times of uncertainty. If you have questions, have a virtual meeting with us and we'll chat through. Love that messaging point. Cafe Cabal doing awesome things. Order beans online for home delivery, right? Fantastic way. You can't walk into a Cafe Cabal brick and mortar and have a cup of coffee with your friend, but you can order beans online and have it delivered to your home. Associate Medical Professionals is doing has telehealth virtual appointments that you can make. You can request a time if you want to talk to your doctor. People are worried about going into a doctor's office. This is a great way to talk to your doctors online and promote the fact that they can actually do that while online. So just being thoughtful and creative about the way that you can position yourself online. Remote work strategies are important, and so your brand can share experiences of what you're doing work from home, and how you're leveraging technology to do that. But don't forget, there are essential employees having to go in every day, so don't be insensitive to that message, because not all of us have the luxury to be at home. Many people are having to risk their lives literally by going into their jobs. But be helpful, and in some cases you can be fun with this work from home strategy. And so here's some opportunities. Buffer said, we've been fully remote for 9 years and we have teammates in 19 different countries. If you have questions, tweet us and we'll get back to you with some answers, which I thought was cool. Wirecutter is a website, New York Times company. And they created literally, I think it's more than 100 links of ways that you can get free or discounted services to do video calls, content for kids, content for students, staying productive, all kinds of different things. And I actually included the link here. We're sending out this deck afterwards, so you guys can directly link to that. So I thought that was cool. Locally, I also wanted to talk through, this is a great opportunity if you do have expertise into staying at home and working remotely. It's a great opportunity to talk to news stations and get some public relations out of it. The reality is that everyone's looking for answers. And so if you can be the expert in something specific, talk to your local media and say, hey, how can I help get this message out? And so both in Syracuse and Rochester, we have offices in both. We had a bunch of TV stations pick up and do interviews with us over how we do and have always kind of done work from home, and some of our strategies there, as well as business journals. So it's a great time to be thinking about how to expand your messages above and beyond just social media. And then once you have some press, you can share that on social media, and then it helps the media companies because their stories get out to more people, and it helps your brand because you're being the content expert, and it helps people, right? As many wins as you can make in all of this, that's a fantastic way to deliver value for people. Supply chains are drying up, so you want to pivot your business to supply, to help supply the demand as well as showcase your abilities. Don't be insincere. Don't be opportunistic. Again, don't charge $500 for masks right now. It's not a good idea. Be sincere, be helpful, and be based in humanity. Anheuser-Busch and Ford have both transitioned their businesses to making hand sanitizers and ventilators and things that people need, our frontline workers, which is incredible. But obviously, we also have local companies like Beacon Skiff, who's doing a great job, and a bunch of distilleries are changing to sanitizers, which is great. And by the way, you don't have to just produce PPE. Like if you're not a manufacturer, one thing that I thought was great is Sol & Quinn Studios, great video production company in town. They've been positioning, they can't go out and do video shoots, and so they're creating editable videos that they're just editing at home, where they're talking to Mayor Ben Walsh, and they're helping to spread good information. Right. And so that's a way to pivot your business, not necessarily a core functionality, what you do, but just being, smart about what people actually need right now and delivering that. How can you do this? I really cheated on this one because I included a lot of different opportunities in it. So this is a 1 for like 4. But overall sentiment is down, anxiety and depression on the rise. So what can you do? You can spread joy. You can be grateful for what you have. You can be uplifting, and you can promote others, right? Don't be tone deaf. Don't be insensitive. Don't be insincere with it. But it is a great time to be sincere, to be based in humanity, to spread joy. And I'm going to give a whole bunch of examples. So if you guys have not seen this, please do it. I'm a huge Office fan, so I was thrilled to see John Krasinski with his Some Good News video. Again, look up Some Good News with John Krasinski. This is a fully based YouTube. I thought there was going to be a website and all this stuff. When I click on the link, it went to YouTube. So this is, and YouTube is a social media, by the way. Literally, they've created a whole news program about sharing good news during this time, which I thought was phenomenal. So great content. SNL did a fully at home. Everybody was at their houses doing skits and monologue. Tom Hanks did the monologue. Great way to entertain folks and staying at home. And then Ellen DeGeneres has also been doing a lot of interviews from home and virtual. So again, spreading joy, which I thought was awesome, and saying thanks, right? Like that's a great, your brand should be saying thank you, because people, we need to be saying thank you more to our sanitation workers, to our frontline workers, to our medical people that are keeping us safe. This is more important than it ever has been. Be grateful to folks and share that thanks, because as a brand, saying those messages is incredibly important. Ryan McMahon, oh my gosh, the glazed and confused donut for Ryan McMahon. Unbelievably funny, but also appropriate. He's been doing a great job. He's been busting his butt, serving the people of our community. And so Glazed and Confused and Paul Valenti created an awesome donut on his behalf. And all proceeds actually go to medical professionals, which I think is awesome. Burn Dairy is thanking their employees, which I thought was great, and giving them cash bonuses. Casey did a great post she's the president of OCC, and how the communities band together, and thank you for being part of the OCC family. Budweiser did a great job with a commercial. Look up One Team, how we're all in one team, and how they took all their ad dollars that typically support the sports world, and are using stadiums to help the American Red Cross with blood donations. And finally, Nave Law Firm has done a great job. Every day they're posting new businesses and using their social media platforms to promote other businesses, in this case, Brinewell Eatery, which, by the way, if you haven't been there, get a garbage plate from Brinewell. Fantastic, unbelievable restaurant and great owner. So I thought this is a great way to say, hey, please share and help support local businesses. It's not about Nave, it's about these businesses that need your support during this time, which I think bodes well for everyone, right? So again, just a few principles, and we're going to jump into Q&A. Be sincere, be helpful, fun, fact-based, based in humanity, and value-driven. Again, most important thing. Use your brand as a conduit for facts and public service announcements. Help others learn new skills. Help others worry less about their money. Use your brand to connect personally and professionally online. Do not sell, give value. Pivot to online revenue generation if you can, or at least communications. Help people communicate easier online. Understand your product or service serves a need during this time, and how you can do that better. Spread joy, be grateful, be uplifting, and promote others. Those are some of the guidelines that I think are just incredibly important right now. This is a very challenging time. This stuff is very nuanced, and I hope that this has helped provide you guys value, and you kind of put some of this as a guideline when you're thinking about posting social media content. So if you have questions after this, we're going to open up the question and answers right now. I think Najee is going to drive in helping to get the questions over to me, and I'm going to do my best to answer them. But if you have any questions, feel free to email me, connect with me on any of the social media platforms. Jeff@digitalhive.com is the easiest way to have a direct question for me, or LinkedIn. But thank you again so much, and look forward to answering some questions.
Jeff, that was awesome.
Ooh, I had to go fast there at the end, Najee.
Yeah, it was sort of rapid fire, and I'm so glad that excuse me, you put such an emphasis on value. I think that sort of gets overlooked sometimes, and how value is created, and who exactly defines value, and how it can change over time. So I think that's definitely something important to know. I want to encourage everyone to keep asking questions. If you have questions, put them in the box, and I'm going to go ahead and read some of them off to have Jeff answer them. So Jeff, Susie asks, how can a brand stay within their brand guidelines while adapting to the newness around us? Is this a time to revisit, adapt, and possibly modernize your brand?
Yeah, great question, Susie. Thanks for joining. Um, right now, the most important thing is that you're staying within your brand guidelines while also adapting to the newness, right? So the answer to that question is, how can you do it? By being authentic, right? By being genuine to what your brand has always represented. And so if your brand is, I see Mark Ray on the call, so I'll mention Howard Hanna. Howard Hanna is a fantastic real estate company. They help people buy and sell homes, right? And so their brand is being helpful, it's being authentic, it's helping people through, one of their biggest decisions they're going to make in their life. And so how can you make sure that, you're staying within those brand guidelines when you're communicating during this time? I think it's just doubling down on the helpfulness, right? If you have questions, if you need to sell your house right now, we have answers. We have tons of agents all around the community that are experts within your community that can answer your questions. So reach out to us. Maybe they could tweet, maybe they could send a social media post and say, if you have questions, direct them here. Create a landing page to say, if you have questions, submit to the landing page, and then we'll directly respond to your question. There's a whole host of ways to make sure that you're being authentic and genuine to who your brand has always been, while also being helpful and driving value during this time. So I think the direct answer is by being absolutely 100% authentic to what your brand has always represented, while also pivoting to making sure that you're delivering the value that people actually need during a time where people are confused, they're worried, they're anxious. When that happens, when all this confusion kind of bubbles up, people are going to naturally have questions. They're going to have answers, or they're going to have questions that need to be answered. And so you as the content authority, it doesn't matter if you're a not-for-profit, doesn't matter if you're a real estate agent, doesn't matter if you're a media company, doesn't matter if you're a law firm, doesn't matter who you are, you have answers to someone's question. So if you're delivering that value, I think it's a great way. But also the second piece of that question is, how do you revisit, adapt, and or should you revisit, adapt, and possibly modernize your brand? Absolutely. Just in general, I think right now is a time to, if you've had an old, it's kind of like when you're at home and you're like, oh man, I've been putting off painting that wall forever. Think about that in a similar way, right? Right now, businesses have an opportunity, many businesses have an opportunity to be like, okay, it's a little bit slower. How can we leverage our workforce to really be thoughtful about changing who we, let's get to that project. Oh gosh, I've wanted to create that new service forever. Now's a great time to do it, right? And especially if it serves a need for where consumers are going to be either during or after COVID. If you can start to create generate a revenue model or service-based business or piece of your business that really will serve a purpose, it's a great opportunity to focus in on that so that you can launch it right as soon as people start to feel better about COVID. So I think it's a great opportunity to be thinking critically about how to make your business stronger after all this kind of passes.
Very thorough answer. Thanks, Jeff. So next question is, would discounted services for new customers, such as 1 to 2 months free services, fall in the add value category, or is that too close to selling?
Great question. So if I'm understanding the question correctly, is discounting or giving away free trial memberships giving value or selling? I think the nuance. See, this is where the nuance piece comes in, because it's a line, right? If you are saying, if it's primarily, if the communication piece is only, hey guys, here's a buy one, get one, today at, this store, come in today, right now for whatever, right? If it's simply that message, simply a selling piece of message, it can come off. It can be, even if you didn't mean it, right? It can be interpreted as just a selling mechanism. Just, hey, all they care about is my money. All they care about is revenue. So what I would pair that with if you're going to do a discount, or let's say a free 1 month or 2 month trial membership, I think it can totally fall in the value category. But how you do it is you say, hey, look at, we understand that times are incredibly challenging right now. And so in order to help more customers, and let's say your service is your online learning platform, in order to help customers learn a new skill during this really challenging time when you're at home, similar to digital marketer, we're offering a free 1 month trial, no credit card, no anything attached. Literally just come in, use our platform, and get value from it. And we hope that it helps you, right? That's it. There's no selling in that. It's just, here, I'm giving you something. As long as you're doing that and positioning it the right way and communicating the right way, then it's a great value-driven message. If you say, hey, we're doing a 1 month free, come and get it now before time ends, right? And you got a counter on there and whatever. that's not being sensitive to the context. Sometimes that's a great selling mechanism when times are different, but right now I don't think that's necessarily the tone you want to go
All right. Kate wants to know, how can we all come together in this community as one to do more thanking?
Kate, great job on the Easter egg thing again. So how can we do more thanking as a community? One thing that I do love, as I gave an example, is when Nave Law Firm was promoting other businesses and helping. I think what you said is right. Coming together as brands and messages, we are stronger as many than we are few or one, right? And so if you can find opportunities to share, business platforms, social media communication. If you can get other brands to participate in a way to thank people, something that I've seen a lot of is like, I showed the DeBellas example where it's 50% off for first responders and medical professionals and things like that. I think that's awesome and a great way to help thank folks that need to be thanked right now. But I also think, what if there's a more comprehensive way to do that, right? Maybe I don't think that I've seen multiple brands teaming up to give an experience for folks, right? Like, if let's say you're a hotel, right? And you're part of a tourism, a group of tourism businesses. What if as a tourism business, you say, hey, in order to thank our medical professional community, we're going to host a conversation around, how to travel safely, right? And then for everyone that participates, that's part of the medical community, you're going to be entered to win an all-inclusive luxury vacation. As soon as this thing's over, at any time you're choosing throughout 2020, you're going to be able to stay at our hotel, eat at our restaurant, check out this exhibit, check out this museum, whatever it may be. And then all of a sudden, it's like, wow, all these companies are really coming together for the greater good. And not one of them is like, oh, this is like, this is just a sales tactic for one of them. It's oh my gosh, this is a great community effort and everybody wins. And it elevates the message because instead of, 500 followers for this and 1,000 followers for this, it's all of a sudden 20,000 followers that are seeing this message. And then it's going to be shared and communicated. So really authentic content, really authentic giving of value. I think that's one of the strongest things you can be thinking about.
Awesome. And Jeff, I have a question for you. Hopefully you can answer. Obviously, we're all starting to accept some of the things that we've been going through in terms of, isolation as the norm. So we as consumers are going through behavioral changes, right? How should businesses prepare for any long-term behavior changes?
Really good question, Naj. I'm so glad you brought it up. It is my opinion, and I've read a few articles on this, so it's shared, but I don't think anyone has a crystal ball. If you do, let me know. But I will say that this will definitely change us as a society. I think that as soon as, business is back to being open and our society starts to get out in the world, every one of us are going to be germaphobes for a little while. Right? It's going to be hard to be the first time to go to a big concert, right? You're going to, in the back of your head, no matter what, if there's going to be 1,000 people gathering at an event, you're going to be like, oh, should I really go to this? And so being cognizant of that is important. I think also, what we're doing right now, I will tell you when this whole thing broke out, I told my whole team, I'm like, you're all going home. I'm coming into the office every single day because I have to be in the office to focus. I got 2 young kids. It's just going to be chaos, right? But, as time went on, I took a day and I stayed home, and another day and I stayed home. And now all of a sudden I'm like, I have this shirt on right now, but I have sweatpants on. Not kidding. I'll get up. I'll prove it to you. And I love it. So it's going to be hard for me to come out of the sweatpants. And I think one of the things that's going to be, crucial is thinking about how are we going to communicate. Before it used to be, is there a reason that we're going to have this meeting online rather than in person? I think the dynamic is going to change from that to, is there a reason we need to meet in person? Can't we just do this online, right? Because for more than a month, we're all going to be used to doing this. And all of a sudden it's like, why are we meeting in person? Let's just get together on Zoom. It takes 2 minutes. We don't have to do the commute. We don't have to do all this stuff. Let's just talk here, right? And so there's a lot of layers to how I think behaviorally will change as a society. And what your business needs to do is recognize that, to your point, Najee, recognize and anticipate some of those needs and some of those potential behavioral changes, and say, all right, well, how can my business adapt to not only, the current situation that we're in, but also how can I maybe think about getting better at being a content expert about, having virtual meetings. Even if your business isn't Zoom, how can you be like, oh yeah, we know how to run a virtual meeting better than everybody. If you're in sales, how can you run a better sales meeting virtually than anybody, right? How can you be cognizant of social distancing even when social distancing isn't mandated? There's going to be short-term, medium-term, and long-term effects, and just trying to do your best to wrap your head around those, I think, is going to be critical, and then adapting your business to do that. So I think, hopefully that answers your question, Naj. I also got a question from Lenore. Hey, Lenore, privately that said, if there's a new way to work with customers virtually, and we added methods along with thanks and being empathetic, would that be selling or informing? I think it goes back to the nuance between selling and informing is all about the positioning. The difference between selling and informing is all about the positioning. So when you're communicating to your audience, if your intent behind your message is, hey, buy something from me, patronize my business, and it is only that, it stops there. It stops with the buy one, get one. It stops with the we're the best. It stops with the no one else can beat our price, whatever it is, right? If it stops there and it doesn't go into, hey, by the way, yes, we have the best X, but in order to provide you the best service in this time of need, we're going to be doing X, Y, and Z to help expedite that. We're going to be able to deliver this faster. We're going to be open. We're putting our lives on the line by staying open so that you can get your meal every night. So please patronize our local restaurant, right? If you're not kind of positioning it the right way, it can go very easily into the selling category. So it's all about being thoughtful around how can you provide true value and truly tell your customers, I'm doing this because I care as a business, right? So yeah.
Awesome. It looks like we got a couple more questions, and I want to be respectful of your time and everyone's time here, so maybe we can make some quick ones. But Chris wants to know your thoughts on hospitality marketing at this time. Looks like they've been doing, your obvious takeout, meal delivery, and even virtual dinners. But it looks like he's moving towards more innovative ideas and wants to capture the effectiveness of that. So what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, first of all, Chris, you should throw in your, if you have the link ready for the virtual dinner, throw it in the thing, because I think it's an awesome idea. I did it, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, they did a really cool 300-person dinner online, and everybody was sharing a great meal together, and they delivered it. It was really cool. So share that link if you have it. The obvious is the obvious, right? Takeout, service, all that kind of stuff, what most restaurants are doing if they are able to stay open. I think it's it is a massive opportunity right now for content creation across all platforms. Social media, your website, blogging, vlogging, YouTube, any way that you can be creating content. So many people, going back to what I said before, you're trying to deliver value. And what is the easiest way to deliver value? Because you're by leveraging your expertise and giving answers to people that have questions in your space, right? So if you're an expert at creating really great meals, can you be doing, those tasty type videos where you're creating the recipes and showing people how to make these different meals at home? Maybe they're like super fancy meals and you're like, does this look intimidating? It's really not. All you need are these ingredients. You could be featuring your chefs. You could be talking about your best health practices, at restaurants. You could be talking about, why, your delivery is different than everybody else. You can talk about, how you source your ingredients and why that makes you unique. You can come up with a million ideas of what makes your business unique and tell your story. And I think that's just such a massive, massive opportunity. Not only because it's a great way for you to brand, but also because people are online looking for content. Again, everybody's on social media right now. They got nothing to do. I bet most of you, if you're on Facebook or Instagram or wherever, you're seeing TikTok content. There have been so many people joining TikTok right now, that bigger than ever, because they're seeing the platform, they're seeing the content shared on other social media profiles, going, whoa, what's this TikTok thing? And I guarantee you, if TikTok sticks around and stays live, which it looks like it has a good shot of doing, it's going to be the Facebook in 7 or 8 years, because people are going to be like, oh, it's my mom and dad on TikTok doing lame videos. Right now, people think of it like what Snapchat used to be 7 or 8 years ago, it's only for young people sharing, not so nice photos with each other, right? That's what Snap used to be. Now it's a news platform, right? And everybody's using it. Many people are using Snap. Instagram, same thing. Instagram used to be like, so thinking about how to leverage your content, your expertise, and putting that out in the world, massive opportunity. So please do that. And Chris, dininginsideout.com. Awesome.
Yeah, we're gonna have to have a deeper conversation about TikTok because I've been trying to find, more behavioral studies and trends. So I'm gonna need to pick your brain about that.
I'll give you the 2 second answer. I hate it, but it's necessary. I mean, it's just, I think it's like, right now the content isn't, some content's relevant, sometimes it's not, but I just I don't want to make the time to create content, but I'm trying because I know I'll need it at some point, but it's.
Yeah, well, my 2 second pitch is that I hate it because I love it so much, and I now find myself on it a lot. But
It becomes addicting.
so Bill wants to know, should we be running more, less, or the same amount of paid social media ads right now? Are you seeing a higher cost per action or cost per click compared to before COVID?
Yeah, good question. So I think your second question kind of informs the first. And so more or less same amount of paid social media ads really is a very it's an answer for each individual business. It's kind of, you have to have your own self-awareness, your inflection to understand if it's the right time, right? Because advertising for advertising's sake, probably not a good idea. Just from a pure, like, we want to sell stuff because our business is slow. Now, if you have some really good paid social media, if you have a really good message that talks about everything, driving value and creating content and all this great stuff that I talked about, yeah, you should go all in on paid social media because people are using, just like I'm talking about organic, people are using social media now more than ever. So I think you should be going hard at social media because the cost per click and the cost per acquisition, typically there's more users. So even if there are more ads, it's still pretty similar. That's what we're seeing as a large scale. Now, CPA and CPC is all about, as you know, probably, Bill, it is a bidding system. And so if you're in a very competitive world where there's a lot of people bidding on different audiences, then the cost per click, cost per acquisition may be higher. But right now, in general, it's staying the same or it's less because a lot of businesses have pulled back their advertising dollars. And so and just like in the recession of 2008, when people advertise less, everything goes down. Whether you're buying TV, radio, billboards, the inventory becomes, there's more inventory available, so you can go harder, and that's what we're seeing right now. I think as people start to jump back in the pool, things will change. But I think it's a good opportunity if you have the right message. It's all about if you have the right message. Then yes, absolutely, you should be running paid social.
Awesome. I think that does it for our questions. Jeff, I want to thank you for this presentation. I want to thank everyone for joining us today. You'll be able to find the slides to this presentation on Center State CEO's website shortly after this. And you'll be able to find the recording of this webinar on our YouTube channel and other social media outlets. If you found interest or value in this event, please visit centerstateceo.com/events to see our calendar of upcoming events that I'm sure you'll be interested in as well if you're interested in this. Some other topics we cover are business tactics, networking, resources, so please use that as a resource. For more immediate updates, be sure to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, Digital Hive 2. They're all over social, obviously. I dropped some links in the chat for Center State CEO's social media channels. But yeah, everyone, thank you so much. And Jeff, thanks.
Yeah, thanks everybody. Appreciate it. Thank you for coming in. Thank you, Center State.